Okay, a little of the usual and a little of the unusual. Okay, so we're not doing a wood destroying insect inspection on this house. If we were doing one, I would be telling you that the bushes are too close to the structure. Okay, is that worth $175 to hear that? Probably not. Okay, so, but our bushes aren't supposed to be so close to the structure. One thing I try to do is try to determine whether any structure I inspect, whether it's a wood destroying insect report or not, is I try to determine if the house has been treated previously, because I would find some comfort in that. And this house has not been treated previously. But I do know that this house has been treated previously, because that's what those baits are for. Now you can buy these baits at Home Depot. Somebody could just wake up one morning and just say, I don't know, what are you doing today? I don't know, what are you doing today? I was just kind of bored. I thought I'd get some of those baits. I have one of my friends at work has termites, and I was thinking maybe I should get some of those baits. And they'd put them in there. Or it was installed professionally, which the Texas Structural Pest Control Board does recognize. Now, what happens with these is that they're baits. So when the termite shows up, he eats the bait, and then he takes it home to the queen, and the queen eats it, and then she dies, and the colony collapses. This is ingenious. Chemical warfare. I love that. But termites travel with a sense of pheromones. They're blind. And they have different pheromones. So they have sex pheromones, and they have food pheromones, and they have danger pheromones. So they're coming over here, and they're eating this, and they're taking it back, and they're leaving pheromone trails in the yard, okay, so that they can come up and find some more food. All right? Well, the problem with that is if you don't keep these things serviced, you don't keep new food in there, they come up and there's no food left. And you think they're just going to go home? Just I'll just go tell them that there's no more food at the store. No, they're going to go looking for more food. Where are they going to go looking? Back into the structure that was treated? Or are they going to come over here next door to your tree? You got conducive conditions. You got all this shade over here. Say, I know I can get into that house because I can sense it, because they can sense temperature really. They have to have a certain temperature. They've been around longer than we've been around, and they're going to be around a lot longer than after we leave. Okay, termites were before humans, and they'll be after humans. So they're going to make it. And just because this thing goes dry, just because there's no food left in this, doesn't mean they're not going to be looking for some food. So just kind of heads up, you want to keep your eyes open. But that's not why we're here. We're here for grading and drainage. And you can tell right here that this grading and drainage is just not operating like it should be. Okay? So, I don't know what the answer is. On the other side of the house, what we have is some surface drains. So, and it's a little drier on the other side of the house too. We got a little bit of erosion here, and then on this column we got a little bit of wood rot right in there. Okay, and then what we're supposed to have, and that's not it. That's not it. That form board, okay, that column right behind the brickwork like that. How far do you go down, buddy? How far do you go down? Okay, you're not so bad. I was expecting the worst. I got a negative attitude. But this is all separating, okay? We're supposed to have weeps. Anytime the siding comes down and the drainage plane is disrupted, we're supposed to have weeps. And so that the water can move out from underneath the walls, and the walls don't hold the water in it. And I have not seen any weeps around the brickwork. We've got a little bit of erosion along here, and a little erosion along here. And we talked about those not being sealed, and we talked about the high grounding rod. We talked about the 410A. Yeah, buddy, we did. Oh, you will. You will if you watch them in a line. So we come on across here. There's one broken siding, two broken siding. I think there's one on the other side. Three broken siding. Siding's kind of breaking up here. Now, if our windows, we've got some loose siding right there. Bathroom vent, closed dryer vent. I do not know what that is for. If that's for the air conditioner, because the air conditioner is supposed to have a secondary drain line or a safety switch, and I haven't been in the attic yet. So if it's got a safety switch, then that's the water heater, and it's too high. And if it's the air conditioner, well, then it's supposed to be over a window, so that way you know you have a problem. And we do not have Z-bar flashing, and that's why we're getting water issues all up underneath here, and you'll see some inside the wall there. Okay, rolling on around. I swore I wasn't going to go clockwise, but here we go. You know what? I don't like going clockwise. I like going counterclockwise. So let's go counterclockwise. Why? Because all my stuff I try to report in a counterclockwise fashion. So you can use my report as a map. So we're moving on along. We're coming around here. See this on the brickwork? That's a weep hole. That's a good thing. We're supposed to have that. All right. So that because brick is porous, water's going to get in the wall. Most of the time, it's just going to be a vapor barrier, vapor coming out of that. You won't notice it. All right. Now I've seen some events where water can come out, but that is called a weep hole. That is a weep. We should have weeps up here too. We should have a gap between this and the brickwork. Got some pretty good wood rot right in there. Our electric receptacles, excuse me, our light fixtures, our carriage lamps, okay, they should be sealed to help prevent water penetration. It's moving on up over here. Kind of looking at this and kind of looking at this. We've got some loose apron flashing over the gable detail above the garage. Loose apron flashing over the gable detail over the garage. Now, see how this slope is coming down and meeting the wall? And see that gap between the roof and the wall? That's good. We're supposed to have that. All right? That's a good thing. But when we get down to the end, anytime the roof covering is perpendicular, okay, the drip edge is perpendicular to a wall like this, we're supposed to have kick-out flashing that directs the water into the rain gutter and goes down. And we do not have kick-out flashing there. And for that matter, our rain gutter is supposed to be butt end. Our rain gutter butt end is supposed to be a minimum of 1 inch away from the wall. And it's not. So we're coming along over here. We don't have our weeps around there, but we do have our weep holes. So that's a good thing. That's the good thing. Storm doors are beyond the scope of this inspection, but this one seems to be working pretty good. I'll show my client how to do that. We have electric. This used to be fine. This used to be hunky dory. This used to be the code. Which, by the way, I need to go reset it because I tripped it one earlier, and we'll trip it again because we're trippers. So we'll reset this thing. It reset. It scared me for a minute. Sometimes they fail, and sometimes you trip them, and they just won't reset. And that's a good thing. So we got a little bit of mortar above this. But that's okay because you should have not okay at all. But we should have a, it's called an in-use cover. So you can plug your Christmas lights in and then close it. And then, when the storm comes in, it doesn't trip your GFCI. It doesn't trip your GFCI. This should be labeled as GFCI and it's not. This also should be labeled as, and it wasn't required when the house was built. You're going to get tired of hearing that. But it's not water resistant. And most of the receptacles aren't tamper resistant either. And it tripped it just like that. How about that? So that's the way it was supposed to be installed on day 1. But on this day, it's not weather resistant. It's not labeled GFCI. I think that was required. And we do not have an in-use cover. We got some cracking. I have a whole cracking video coming up when we get to the porches and patio section of the report. And this is the same thing as before. It's narrow at the end, in plane, but it is cracking. I can't say it's not cracking. I won't say it's not cracking. On around, on around, on around. I am finding you're supposed to have your attic ventilation balanced. Okay, and I am not seeing, I've seen like 6 soffit vents. So the air intake into the attic is very suspect at this point. Looks like we got some of our screens are coming apart here a little bit. And these also look like original windows. This one's fogging. See that? These are called Muntins. And they're conductive and they're decorative. Okay, because people want that, classic look. These are not individual panes. This is a big window with some decorative Muntins inside of there. And the Muntins are metal, so they are more conducive to moisture. And so when you see the moisture gathering in there, see that? Okay, our seal is broken. Our seal is compromised. So they have replaced some of the windows, but they haven't replaced the one in the primary bathroom, and they haven't replaced this one. And this screen is showing signs of wear and tear. Okay, we're going to roll on out. More level grading and drainage. We got some exposed post-tension cable ends. All right, why is that bad? Well, this is post-tension cable slab is is a very strong slab, okay? Instead of rebar, they put cables in here, and they put them under tension. It kind of creates the Greek arch effect, makes it a lot stronger, it's more pliable. It's just a better system altogether. They have a couple different types of post-tension. I don't know which one it is, but this is a post-tension slab. But those cables are steel, and when steel rusts, it expands. And when steel rusts and expands, it cracks your concrete. And then it becomes weak. So it loses its strength while it's expanding. And replacing a post-tension cable is kind of expensive. It's a big deal. So our post-tension cable ends should be sealed. They should all be sealed so we don't see the cables. Got a little more erosion down in here. Remember I was talking about the Z-bar flashing? Well, this is an excellent example of the Z-bar flashing being missing, and then it's manifesting itself down here in these corners of the window casement. Look at that. Ooh, is that a sponge? That's a sponge. Look at that one. Oh my goodness. Yeah, buddy. That's a sponge. Got a little bit of crack right there. And then these sidings, I think I mentioned it already, but might as well end on the same note we started, make the song complete. These butt ends should not have been sealed. We did start on this, and we should have flashing tape behind them. So they sealed them, but they didn't put any flashing tape behind them. So the siding was not installed properly.